Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. That's fine. It was a really good thing. I got some good information,
Can
made
we
some
can we back up for
contacts, some
just a
good
second?
contacts and stuff.
Can we back up just for a second about the book
Yes.
club Zoom meetings that you've been a part of? Are they inspiring? Are they a release point for you so you can go on to the next level or your next activities? What is the atmosphere? How do you feel when you're part of that group?
I feel like I'm going to get some information that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel inspired. Um, some people are closed in, but by the time the class, the book club, the book is open, we go over the book and there is a workbook that they show. There's questions that are asked. We go into breakout sessions,
Mm.
and it is really inspiring and uplifting when you're talking to them. Not everybody agrees with everybody, which is
Mm-hmm.
okay, but there's no fights and no ugliness going on. Um, I think that it's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And my last week when we went into the breakout session, I had two ladies that were with me. One was Dr. Uba, and another one, she was from New York. I can't think of her name right now. And when I went into the group, they said, "Oh, Dr. Paula, we wanted you. We wanted you. We wanted you." I'm like, "Dr. Paula." I'm like, "Okay, thank you." I do have an honorary doctorate degree in theology, but anyway, so it was good to be with them. We were talking about some different things. We go into the trauma that we've had in our lives and being healed from that trauma, dealing with white bodies and learning what a white body is. And I learned that in going on YouTube, listening to him some more. A white body is the standard that was given for white people that we all have tried to come up to in our
Mm-hmm.
hair, our skin tone, and how we look and how we dress, and how we just, we feel like we can't get where we need to get unless we're at the standard.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just learning that we don't need to be at their standard. We have our own standard. And then we have to also develop our own culture. Um, a lot of things that we said that were culture, like um, New Year's Eve, black eyed peas. New Year's Eve, you gotta have a pot of black eyed peas,
Good luck.
or you eating the chitlins, you eating the hog maws, you eating the collard greens, you eating sweet potato pie, and all this other kind of stuff. And we ate those things, and our great grandparents ate that, and then they pass it on to their children, and they pass it on to their children. Now we're here. We call that culture,
Mm-hmm.
but what it actually was is a way to survive because we couldn't eat what the master had in the house. What he threw out to us, that's what we ate. So we ate it and we learned how to cook it really good and
Mm-hmm.
pass it on. So that became survival for them, but we call it culture. But what is our culture? And
Mm.
so we talk about how we could develop culture, and how you develop culture is you continue to do things over and over again, but you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have more than yourself coming together.
Mm.
Um, I was so excited when I was listening to that, and I listened to him again, and my heart was like, "Oh wow! I've been wanting to start a drum circle in Hanford at the park. Just having some people just get out there and play my djembe and have people come around and just, listen and see, and then have an audience where you could get up for about 5 minutes and say something powerful, meaningful, or even have somebody come out and do some positive open mic,
Mm-hmm.
and then people could bring, if they want to bring a tambourine, they want to bring a guitar. We have to have acoustics. It cannot be electric. When you're doing drum circles and stuff like this stuff needs to be acoustic, like a flute, a trumpet, or a saxophone. You don't need a microphone for that. You don't need a plug for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
So when you're coming together and you're throwing nuggets out there, that becomes culture when they're looking forward to that. In 2012, me and Carolyn went to my friend Carolyn. We went to New York, and I already had the itinerary, and I knew over at Prospect Park every Sunday at 2 o'clock they have a drum circle, come rain or shine, hail, sleet, snow, whatever. And I
snow.
said, I don't care what we're doing, we going over to that drum circle. And it was huge. It was wonderful. People, they had a circle. They had the sage burning, and people they were dancing, and everybody under the but it doesn't matter what color you were. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I stayed there. I'm like, I'm sitting there just rocking, like, oh, yes, this is really, really good. So that's the climate of that drum circle. It brings out, not the drum circle, but the book club. It brings things to your mind, brings things to your heart that'll bring healing. And it also gives you an understanding of who you are and why you are who you are and the trauma that has happened to you and how to heal yourself from the trauma.
So it's medicine for you. If
It is, oh God, it's medicine. It is medicine.
okay.
I feel. And then this past Saturday, I went on their mindful meditation with them Saturday morning, and we did open mic. So I went and got one of my sons, um, Jeffrey Hamilton. I went and got one of his poems that he wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a change is coming, and I read that,
Mm.
and I got the ooh, yeah,
Oh, okay.
and people were commenting on different things that they had heard. So it
Well,
was
this is
it was good.
great.
That's what I'm doing.
That's
Yeah.
that sounds like that's good soul healing activities for you. Now tell us what that translates into in terms of your community activity, because I know you've been busy there too. So what's been going on since the last time you were on with us in terms of community involvement?
Woo. Um,
Wow, you have to take a breath like that? That much? Wow.
well, I've been to two of the evening sessions of the County Board of Supervisors redistricting meeting.
What was that about? How did that flow? Do you have a lot of
Well,
participation? Were there a lot of people there?
well, there was a few. There wasn't a whole lot. There were two other black ladies there with me the first night, and I was surprised that we had black people there.
Mm.
And I'm always like, I'm going to be there. And it
Did
was
you know
good.
him? Did you know him? Small
Yeah, yeah, I
community.
knew. Yeah, I know
Oh,
them.
okay.
The one lady I knew for a while. The
Okay.
other way, I didn't know her. Didn't know her at
Okay.
all. But the fact is that we have a county board of supervisor, Richard Valley. He's on. I think he's in District 2. He does Home Garden, Avenal, Kettleman City, Corcoran,
Mm-hmm.
and
Nice guy. I met him. He's a very nice
he
guy.
is
Very
really he
attentive.
is really a good guy, and he
Yeah.
asked questions that he knew that the community we wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
And they put up these maps that had been submitted, and they were really small. You couldn't see the writing. You couldn't see the demographics and the numbers and stuff, the percentages of the races and stuff there. And so he's asked them, "Can you please make that bigger? Can you make that bigger?" He
Mm-hmm.
says, "Well, I have the paper here, but the people in the audience can't see it."
Mm-hmm.
And so he was really, he was really persistent with that. Well, they had to do that. Um, the one thing that I had a problem with is that he was asking. I didn't have a problem with his asking questions, but I had a problem with them stopping him from asking those questions and waiting till later on.
You're talking about other supervisors or the chairman?
Supervisors, yeah,
Is he the who's the
county board
chairman of that of the board?
supervisor, yeah. Huh?
Who's the chairman of that board?
His name is Craig Peterson.
Craig or Greg?
Great.
Craig.
Craig Priest.
Craig
Oh, okay.
Peterson.
Uh huh.
Yeah, he was out of the state. He was somewhere else, but he chimed in on Zoom. But he was there this weekend, this past Tuesday,
Wait a minute. Whoa,
and
whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a
it was
minute.
really,
Excuse me.
huh?
Hold on. Did you say he lives out of the state?
So he lives here. His
Oh,
residence
okay.
is here, but he has a house somewhere else,
And
and he goes there on a regular basis and stuff. Hang out.
but he was present in person at this last meeting.
Yeah, he wasn't present, but
Oh,
he
okay.
was also on the call on Zoom, so you could see him and he could call the meeting to order and all that other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
you know,
Paula,
yes,
let me ask you, who was interrupting him when he was asking questions?
it was the superintendent asked him, and then the people. I can't think of their names, and I don't think I have the agenda. The people who are running, who are talking about the people who look at the maps and talk with the county board of superintendents, supervisors, right?
Supervisors, correct.
Talk to them about how they can work the maps. Do you want to see anything? So I can't think of the name of the people, but they're the ones who actually a lot of counties hire them in California to do their maps for them. So
Uh-huh.
the guy who was on the Zoom, he asked him not to ask any more questions until later.
Why?
They don't like him.
Okay, but he's
They don't like the fact that Richard Valley is for the community. Richard Valley, I'll tell you this about him. When I go to the County Board of Supervisors meetings and they have to give their reports at the end, what you've been doing, what meetings that you go to, he is the only one that is out there really serving his community.
okay, but the supervisors in that meeting are the ones who has the highest authority.
Yeah.
Not the city manager, not the assistant city manager, not anyone who is consulting, which is the people, those people who you were talking about who were on the Zoom meeting and stuff, they're still working under him. So how are they going to be able to tell a supervisor not to ask a question?
That wasn't. That's not what she said. She said that the other supervisors did not want this particular supervisor to raise questions to the people who were presenting the map to them and talking about the demographics of the map. They were in a hurry to expedite, so they didn't want him
the other
talking.
supervisors were the ones who were cutting him off.
Right, right.
Okay.
Just
That's
that
not the way I
one.
understood.
Nobody else said anything,
Yeah.
but just that one. But this, except for one other person, he was asking questions because he wanted to keep his seat. He wanted to keep his district. But what happened is this meeting here that I was in, it looked like there was going to be a fight because Richard does the right thing. He acknowledges the is it the chairman or the
Board chair.
the
Board chair, the supervisor is the board chair.
the supervisor chair. He acknowledges them. They call on him, and then he starts asking questions. And then that supervisor who was out of state last time, who cut him off, tried to cut him off this time. And he said, "Oh, no, you can't stop me from talking." "Yeah, I can." "No, you can't. I acknowledge you and you will listen to me. I have a right to talk." So it got heated. It got heated up in there. And I'm like, ooh, there could be a fight. No, I shouldn't have said that. But it really was. It really, what Richard did is that there's two maps that we're looking at. And it was map 101, which the gentleman who's presenting to us said that was the best map. It did everything it was supposed to do. Gave us the numbers, didn't crack, didn't bend, didn't do all that other kind of stuff that maps do. And there was another map that came in, map number 113. And so they were looking at 113. A lot of them like, I don't really care about 101, but I like 113. So what Richard did was say, actually, young man, can you pull up map number 113 again? Pull it up like they presented it to us. So they pulled it up. Okay, so he says, everybody see that? Yeah. He said, now pull it up how it was before they presented it to us. Does everybody see that? It's the same map.
So
that's when it got crazy.
Oh, so it sounds like some of the supervisors wanted to go with the old map, and they weren't interested in hearing about new lines being drawn because it may have changed some of their districts.
It's going to change. If we go with the map 101, the District 4 that, no, not District 4. I'm not sure what district, it might be District 4 that Craig Peterson is in. It'll take him taking over Home Garden.
Which is more urban.
Garden, huh?
Which is a little more urban than what has been in this district in the past? Wouldn't you say?
I don't understand your question.
Are there more houses and homes close together in the area that would be expanded, that would change for him?
What it would do,
because he's over in a rural area now, isn't he?
It would give him a more Hispanic population.
Oh, okay.
And that was the area that Richard Valley had. That he did a lot of work in that community. So when you're taking when you're being given this new area that somebody has already been working in and making progress in that area, guess what you have to do? You're going to have to step up to the plate and either do that or even do more. Mm-hmm. And I could see that being a problem. Mm-hmm. I could see that really being a problem, because if I was given something that I've never done before, and now you heaping more stuff on me, I'm gonna have. It's gonna be scary.
Was he giving a lot of pushback to the new map?
Well, he didn't really give any. I can't say that he was giving any pushback. I know Doug Bavoon, he was giving a little pushback on that. All you know what? We have five supervisors. Four of them are farmers.
Okay.
Richard Valley's from Cork, and he's the only one that's not a farmer.
And your point is?
These districts want that. We have a lot of farmland here, and a lot of these districts have farmland. They dealing with farmers.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to keep that because that's who voted for them. That's what's in there. They want to keep their district. They don't want to lose their district.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I don't blame them for not wanting to lose their district because, but it's not about them. It's about the community. You need to serve your community.
It's also about the census. When numbers change,
Exactly,
the boundaries
census,
have to
and making
change.
sure that we have the right numbers there.
Yeah.
And we will have, and Richard Valley doesn't have a problem losing out on Home Garden because
Mm-hmm.
he's still going to be there and do what he wants to do what he needs to do in that community.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Mm-hmm.
already he's verbalized that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's made a lot of great progress in there in that community. Yeah.
It's good. What about the city government? That's county. Anything happening in city government, city hall?
Um, Man, you know what? I just wish when we have our city council meetings that more people will show up, more people like me that look like me,
Mm.
because decisions are being made that will affect us,
Mm-hmm.
and that if you're not there, they'll go in and they'll vote on this stuff, and next thing you know, what happened? Where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Um, today the meeting I was at, some of the people that talked at this new business workshop, they were the owners of Urban Joy, HERB, Enjoy, with the the and sign, ampersand sign, Enjoy is a cannabis store.
I kind of thought when you were smiling like that, it must be something funny about this urban joy. Oh, okay. Now I see what you mean.
Okay, so we have two cannabis places. They're a block away from each other. The big
Mm-hmm.
one, the city is not allowing them to put anything in the window. So we got this big old building that used to be a furniture store that got these white windows, nothing there, just white windows. And you have the Caliva, their sign up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
But Urban Joy, they came in like gangbusters and they converted that massage place or physical therapy place like no problem. They heard them and converted that, and they painted a mural on the outside because every year we have bicycle races here, and so and the street that they ride down that's one of the streets there. So they did a mural of bicycle racing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The city said they told us today that the city told them that you didn't get permission, and so but the city is working with them while they get everything together and try to maybe get that mural approved. I think it's a beautiful mural. You would know that it was a cannabis store. You would think it's a place where they sell bicycles
Mm-hmm.
and do bicycle supplies. But that's what our city does. And the one thing that I'm learning is that you have to be friends. You got to find somebody in there. You got to find somebody in there that you could connect with to get what you want to get done. We have a
Friends
young
where?
man
Can you
in
explain that a little better? What do you
bed.
mean, friends? What are you saying?
You got to
Friends
be
where?
able to rub shoulders with them.
With who? Who's the
With
them?
if you're an outside person bringing the business in, you better know somebody that's on the inside of the city
Meaning
council.
city councilman. Okay.
There's
All
the
right.
city council and also city planning. You got to
Okay.
who knows somebody there.
Okay.
You got to rub shoulders. You got to go in there and yes, some no, sir, and you got to humble yourself. Even though you've been a big business owner for years, but when it comes to Hanford and open up a shop like this or any big store, you'd have to be able to
So
really bow down.
so I would think, and if someone would check that each one of those city council persons who's running for office is getting a contribution from that particular entity. And I think they would probably cover all of their bases, but the ones who are lean more towards what they're trying to do will probably get a little fatter check. I bet you, and it's public
I'm
knowledge.
gonna.
Once they
I
file
really,
that, you're going to know that. But I
Yeah.
think that's 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 the nature of the beast. That's how the game is played. So,
Well, the people who talk, I spoke to the wife of Urban Joy, and she's willing to help a small business with mentorship and stuff like that. So I gave her my card. She didn't have a card. I said, send me your information. I like to really sit and talk with you. So that's one of my things. Okay, who did you connect with? I mean, how did this come about? Y'all came out so fast. When the other business took so long to get there. Okay, when you came up, you like, bam, you just did it just like that. It's like they're already open. Man, they were working out there like crazy. But then we have when you're dealing with the black businesses here, it's kind of difficult. We have a gentleman in our town who had a business. He lived in home. He had a home and home garden. Plus, he's like over this motorcycle club, and it was really nice. I've been over there, and they had like a blues festival, not a blues festival. They had some blues players over there, and they were playing the music and just having a good time. And next thing I know, it's shut down. Somebody complained, so he had some property where I used to live, and the city wanted his property. He was telling us that the city wanted his property to buy it from him so they could build apartments or something because there's a lot of low income houses around. And he said, "No, I'm not selling it to you." So he got some people together. He got his plans. He got everything done. It's a beautiful event. Like an event center for us.
mhm.
Anybody could rent, but it's by black people, so what's black people going to support them. So for the understand, it was a birthday party out there. Somebody came in from Fresno. They got to shooting and carrying on. Police came. That's what's supposed to happen. Police are supposed to show up when somebody's shooting, right? But then the question is when did you build this? Did you get the right permits? Okay, we're gonna shut you down until we figure out what's going on. Really, we've had many businesses downtown where people came in. Maybe they wasn't shooting, but there were fights and stuff like that. They never shut those businesses down. They just took those people, cited them, and took them where they needed to be.
But doesn't
But they
that go
never
back?
shut those businesses down.
But doesn't that go back to what you just said earlier about knowing somebody and rubbing shoulders with the right people? Because I think everything it's connected to politics.
Yeah.
So those folks who may have the ability and the talent to do certain things, if you don't have that political connection, your job is going to be extremely hard. And I think that's one of the problems when you start talking about minority business owners. That's one of our problems. We're good at exercising our expertise, but we're not good at the networking piece on the other end that says when some city official comes to question something that I'm doing and I know I'm within the rights, I can't pick the phone up and call a city councilman or the city manager because
Exactly.
those are the kind of things that we need to instill in our folks. Because for years, I've watched that for years of folks who were extremely talented, but yet in a few months they would be out of business, or a couple of years they'd be gone
Right. Yeah. They won't
because
last.
they got some pushback from somebody who supposedly was in high authority, and they pushed back on them. But that's one of our reasons for having this kind of a show, so we can
Hmm.
talk about those things. And maybe they didn't hear it from us, but somebody who was listening to us shared it with them, and maybe
And
that
you know
opens their
what?
eyes
You're
up a little
absolutely
differently.
right because I'm glad that I had the opportunity to join the chamber because even out there today, there was the guy who had called me to do the church history of Kings County. He was there, and I thought he was an older man, but he just has an old voice. He's a young guy.
Oh, really?
So I was able to meet him. Jeff Garner, who's over the
So
KCAO,
slow
him and
down,
Jeffrey used to work together.
slow down, because you skipped into something there that you hadn't shared before. You
Well,
said that there's something about the history of the churches or something. What is that
oh
about?
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I was contacted a few months ago by Jack Swartz. He's the new person over the CEO over the Carnegie Museum here in Hanford, and there
Hmm.
was some other people that were doing it. The city, whatever reason, they could kick them out.
City owned the property?
So, huh?
Did the city own the property?
City owned the property,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
And so when they closed the museum, I thought, oh please don't let them tear this down, because our city has a history of tearing stuff down. And it
Mm-hmm.
upsets me because if you're not on top of it, you don't have nothing to say once it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, okay. Don't got to go there. But anyway, Jack Swartz and he got a group of people. They formed a nonprofit and they have oversight of the Carnegie Museum. And so they did a the history of the China Alley, Chinatown. It was a beautiful display. And then they just did the NAS Lemoore. They did their history. That was a very good display. And now they're doing March Banks was a gentleman who did car racing. Uh, uh, I can't think of what it's called. What kind of NASCAR racing here in our area. So they're doing that display. And so they came to me and asked me, will I do the Black history of Kings County? I'm like, ooh, okay. So I'm contacting families, and I hope somebody's watching this. So if you know families that came through Hanford that have a history in Hanford, let us know. Let me know. My name is Paula Massey. Hit me up on Facebook. We could do this. So I'm talking to different families and stuff, and then I got a call to do the history of churches in Kings County, and all I know is Black churches. So not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, I drove out all over from Lemoore in the country to here to Hanford and hand out letters and letting them know what we're doing and asking for help. So I've been getting some info. I've been getting some information. We have a lot of history here in Hanford, and we have a lot of families. A lot of our families came from Oklahoma. They came from Arkansas, and there's a place out. They call it I call it Four Corners. I'm not sure what they call it. 5 Points,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they call it. And they lived
Five
in the
Points.
camps.
Mm-hmm.
So when they came out working in the fields and stuff. So they had these little huts and stuff that they lived in. If you had a big family, you
Tents.
lived in a big hut. If you had a small family, you lived in one room hut,
Mm-hmm.
communal bathrooms and showers and stuff like that, a big communal cooking place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning a lot about that, and I am so just like, whoa. Can we just slow down? Can I just talk with you? Can you just get that information to me?
So wait a minute. Wait a
And it's
minute.
going to be a good display. So we're going to have it on display from February to hopefully the end of March or maybe close to the end of March.
So you said they had communals and they shared everything, and then
They shared everything.
you
And
said.
when you know who was telling me that Ramona Thomas, Elder Thomas's daughter, they lived in the camps before
Mm-hmm.
they bought a house in a house of what we call a house. And her sister, who's a doctor, I think she's a doctor now. She delivers babies and stuff. She's a midwife. She uh, she lived there. And so when Ramona, we talk for about 2 hours, when she's telling me about the story and how they live and how the men would go out to work, some of the women had to go in the fields, they watched the kids, they had a communal kitchen. So when the men came in on the trucks and stuff, they were ready to eat their dinner. They had a communal shower where you go in there, everybody used it. Everybody used the bathroom or whatever they had to do. They go in there, clean up, and they come out and they all have dinner.
That's why I
Uh,
wanted to hold on. That's why I wanted to bring you back there because you said showers. All I know about folks who lived in the camps, they had a number two tub.
well, I say shower, but you're right, tubs. They didn't have
Yeah,
no
I don't know
showers.
nobody had no showers.
I know they didn't have showers. But I lived in Staten Island, New York, in the projects, and we didn't have showers. We had a tub.
Yeah.
Well, we had bathtubs, but I know what you're saying. My
Yeah.
grandmother in Georgia, they had this number 10 tub, and I think
Mm-hmm.
about it now. We all took a bath in that. I
Mm-hmm.
want to go first. You want to
Oh, the
go
same
first? You
water?
don't want to, huh?
The same water?
If the first one was clean water, after that, after you got out, whatever you did in that tub, everybody else had to take on that.
yeah,
You know.
well,
But
we.
yeah, so we had families come from Arkansas, like the LeMay family. They
Mm-hmm.
came from Arkansas. Her family came from Oklahoma, and it was just like a big migration here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got. And a lot of these families are their families.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I look at my family history in New York, I had cousins that I didn't even. I just found out that I had cousins I grew up with, went to school with, that I didn't even know we were cousins.
Mm.
And then to hear that my dad's great uncle Lafayette Harris, no, his uncle Lafayette Harris, he got kicked out of Georgia, Albany, Georgia, and told get on that train, don't you ever come back. And when you know how it is that they raise money and they send their family, they send for their families.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I imagine that this is how this was, and that's how we have families. Because you talk to somebody and said, "Oh yeah, you know this person? Yeah, that's my cousin." I'm like, "Whoa!" So, and our little town, you better be careful because you don't know who you're talking. You
Yeah,
don't
who's
know who you're
related to who?
talking to or talking about.
Yeah, and there are a lot of deep hidden secrets in those old families too that
Oh
nobody
yeah,
ever talked about. So yeah,
yeah,
those are the kind of things that are good to know in terms of your efforts to do the history of Kings County. That is great. The only thing I didn't hear you mention was Corcoran because they're part of Kings County, aren't they?
yes. Corcoran is part of Kings County. So Miss Eva Boyd,
Mm.
man, that woman has the information. Matter of fact, I'm looking over here and I have a bag and I have a long container of all these newspaper articles and authors,
Oh
books, and
wow.
stuff that people wrote. And she
Mm-hmm.
has all of this information. So she was even a part of March Banks. He sponsored her to go to Washington, D.C. to sing. He heard her sing. All she sung was gospel, but
Mm-hmm.
he heard her sing and she went to all these different little contests she would win. And he paid for her, but she didn't want to go. She was scared to fly, but he paid for her to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh
to
wow.
perform in this contest.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm going to talk to her tomorrow and see if she allowed me to take her on Saturday to the March Banks display so she could
Mm-hmm.
see it. Yeah.
Okay. It did. Are those? Do you have a plan to put that on digital? All of that information because that's
Every,
something that you really need to, I think, to archive. Because if you leave it
yeah.
sitting in the corner, it might get wet, or somebody might come by and drop a match, and there's a lot of history that just went up. So maybe that'd be a
Yeah.
good challenge for some youth group or the high school students to to digitize all of that. But
Yeah,
anyway, I didn't mean to cut you out.
they're
Just
going to digitize it and have it. It's on. You could go on the Carnegie Museum's website and you can see a lot of stuff already on in history that they're digitizing stuff. They're already doing
okay,
interviews
great.
and things with people. But I know what you're saying as far as what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
digitizing that stuff. So one thing that I found out is that they're willing to display. I get the information, they display. We got somebody who could go into newspapers.com
Mm-hmm.
and they could pull up whatever we need to pull up so it could be a nice, clean copy.
That's great.
We have a gentleman in our community, uh, Sister McGee, Elder McGee's wife. Her dad was a welterweight champion. He was in the 1948 Olympics. He
Mm.
took the silver medal.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And he raised how many kids? She said he raised 7 kids. So yeah, we have all of that information. I'm looking for more information. That's going to be. He's going to have his own big display. I'm serious. We got to do this.
Oh wow. Well, it seems like February is going to be a big month for
Yes.
the African American community of Kings County. Or has the potential to
Yeah,
be.
and I want to utilize the whole because they have a courtyard in the back. The guy told me today we want to have little activities for the kids to come in, do coloring pages. Carol put together a African American what do you call it? Coloring book she did. So we're gonna see go to Staples to see if they can make copies for that. Um, I want to see if we could just do maybe sell little stuff,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
archives, little things. We might not have a lot of uh, tangible things, but after seeing the Civil Rights African American Civil Rights Museum in Washington D.C. with Harvey Jones, um, he didn't have a lot of artifacts, but he had
Mm-hmm.
posters, he had writings, and it was awesome. Just to be able to see the family pictures. I want to see family pictures. I want to see the churches, what the churches look like. I want to hear the history. And if it gets too long, what they got to say, it's going to go on digital. It's going to go on the website.
Mm-hmm. Folks, you're listening.
So, hmm?
I was going to say you're listening and watching Mel Sanders and Friends here on the network here, and Cato hadn't said anything yet. I know he's been taking some stuff in, but we missed you last week, Paula. So we allowed you to catch up and share some stuff, and it sounds like it's very exciting. Some of the things that you're talking about, I'm going to make sure I make it a trip down there during February to kind of take a look at that.
You're
So
welcome to come, Cato.
Well, I'll be there. All you have to do is send my check, and I'll be there. Anything
Oh
for you.
yeah, and
Anything for
I just
you.
and one thing before I go, because I'm going to go back on that other show. I'm sorry,
okay.
but I'll be at the California School Board Association um, conference,
Mm-hmm.
December 1st to December 4th. My first conference.
Oh, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm talk. You know, one of the things about being on the school board, I talk to people about issues, Black people about issues that they have, and I tell them that you got to come. Your child has to voice these things. You have to voice these things. You have an opportunity to come to the school board meeting and let people know what you're feeling, and they'll just kind of play it off.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, how can we do that? How
Mm-hmm.
can our school district have a winter formal? All of the schools come together in one place. It's outside, and there's no drink, there's no food, nothing. The kids paying $35 a ticket.
Where's
Where did that
this?
$35 go to for each child?
Where's
The
this?
ASB, Association of Student, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So parents are upset about that. You had my child out there. For one thing, it was cold. It was outside, which we understand COVID, but there was no food, nothing for them to eat on, nothing for them to drink on.
Mm. Mm. Well, that seems like that's another topic for another night because I think
I know.
there's
Yeah,
a
I just wanted to
whole
say
lot of
that. Just
there's a whole lot we can drill down on that, especially when we start talking about school district budgets and clubs and things that are on campus and how they're funded. So
yeah,
we'll have to follow back up on that one. But we
yeah.
appreciate you coming in tonight and just sharing that with us. You know, you told us you got another Zoom call that you enjoy more than us. So we're gonna say good night to you and thank you for your participation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And parents, show up to your school board meetings, and your city council meeting, and county board of supervisor meeting. Your voice matters.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See
Good night
ya.
to you.
Okay, take care. Have a good night, everybody.
You
You
too.
too.
Yeah, that was very interesting. And boy, when
Mm-hmm.
she gets going, she gets going.
That's why I was quiet.
But I did see you have some notes on there. Is there anything over there you wanted to share with us? Because other than that, we're going to be talking about all of this news that's in the news.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. Start it off. All I'm gonna do is
Well,
nod.
This has been a very interesting last 2 weeks, man. It's been a lot of politics, a lot of national, local, and state politics going on, and it seems like your governor's in the doghouse again. You know, every time we turn around, he's in the doghouse. He's supposed to go to some conference or summit concerning climate change, and he suddenly changed his mind. And I haven't heard yet why he changed his mind. He said it's about family and neglecting his family, and he says, I'm just going to take time out. I just said, look, I'm not going to go. I'm going to stay here. I don't know. I don't know if I want to believe that or not. What are your thoughts?
Sounds like a cop out because he can pick any time. And okay, so what he's saying is he's going to take away from his family not to go. So what else that he has on his agenda that's more important than climate change?
Well, yeah, that's interesting because you said it right. He could take a break with his family anytime.
He's the guy. I mean, when he says I'm not going, then he's not going.
Yeah.
Nobody else can tell him, yeah, you are. So it would come down to his decision that whatever is on the agenda next, after this climate change meeting, is more important than climate change. It's got to be. Priorities, he's got his priorities, so apparently climate change is not one of them.
Because that's the job you signed up for. When you're governor, you know, there's
Right.
things that
You
you know
have
you're
to
going to have to do,
sacrifice.
and your family's going to have yeah, that's going to be a sacrifice there.
And you're not saying, oh, I'm going to take 3 or 4 times a year for my family. No, you're here for the people, and your family knows that they have to sacrifice because we, as the government, come first.
Yeah, and you as a taxpayer, you don't want your money going to somebody not working.
Right.
Is that your attitude?
That's it.
Because
You know,
I
you
know
can-
you were adamant about school districts getting additional
Oh, there
money.
you go. Oh, so you
So
gonna
you-
start that again, huh? Oh, don't get me started on that. Yeah, you can do that when you're dead, okay? But right now, this is what you need to be doing. See,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm not an advisor to the governor, let alone the president.
Oh yeah.
Because, half of them people that he has in front of him, I think they just yes people anyway.
Really?
Yeah,
you
I
think
do.
they're non-thinkers?
Well, and let's go back to your last president. Your last president. I
Okay.
didn't stutter. Your last president.
Okay.
Who was telling him no? Nobody.
Yeah.
And when I'm sorry, let me back up. That's not true. I take that back. That's not true. There was people who told him no, but then the next 5 minutes they didn't have a job. So there was people that told him no. Or when they said no, they had their resignation in their hand. So this was already planned. So, and the next person they put in place was knowing good and well, wait a minute, the last guy had my job. He said no, and now he ain't working no more. I bet you one thing, I won't be saying no. so that goes for the governor too. Come on now, especially climate change. Wait a minute, climate change is real. Mm-hmm. Climate change is real. So I don't care who you are, if you're blind to that fact, just look at it. Now, the only excuse they was given, and I know this wasn't a topic because the topic that I want to talk about, we'll get to because it's only going to take 30 seconds, Mel. Don't worry about it. 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So here you go. Some of the stuff doesn't make sense. You talking about climate change. The excuse they was given, and me being a science buff and all that stuff, I look up. And now I know what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So here you go telling me that it's the rotation of the earth that's going around the sun that in this period it's taking us longer to make that trip. So we're going further out. So now that the earth is actually cooling instead of heating up. That's the excuse I'm telling you, that's the excuse when all this first got started. That was the excuse of why there was climate change.
Okay.
Not man-made. Man had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Because it's been too short of a period that man was, say, in control of the earth as far as polluting, that no, it can't be anything else. Man just wasn't here long enough to do all this damage. It's the ozone that, it's open and you got spots and stuff. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, why is it? Well, that's just normal. So you expect me to believe that? Man, it had nothing to do with it. Look at the earth doesn't absorb all this dirt and pollution that is being put out, let alone China. I mean, just say the whole world. But because China is the worst polluter. So when you see all this pollution that is a fog over the whole nation of China, and it can't be absorbed by the rest of the world. Vegetation is the only thing that absorbs and eliminates that pollution. Well, if that's the case, you're expecting that the trees and all this stuff would absorb all that and clean it up faster than what is being produced.
Not gonna happen.
There you go. Yeah. And so that eliminates that issue that man has nothing to do with it. Regardless if man had anything to do with it, there's a problem. That's crazy. There's a problem going on. Yet you're so worried about the excuse of the problem instead of fixing the problem.
Well,
if you can fix it.
That's because it's become political. I mean,
and it comes down to money. How do you get carbon credits? Wait a minute. Oh, the biggest scam ever. Carbon credits. You know that was created? That's set up so that there's a way to make money off of the carbon pollution, that if one company doesn't use up all their credits that they have, they can take those credits and sell them to somebody else. What does that sound like? Oh, okay. Come on, we're going to end on this.
Yeah.
Let's talk right quick.
Where's your list before we run out of time here?
Let's talk about the case. Oh, and I didn't write down the case. I was writing down what I wanted to say. But the case where, I'm sorry, maybe the young man that got killed by the three white men.
Albury.
The one black man that got killed by the 3 white men.
Albury.
That trial
The
that's
last-
going on.
Yeah, I forget his first name, but his last name is Albury.
Albury.
Albury, yeah.
Now, the latest in that was the lawyer for the defense. He got up and said in court.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
We don't want any more black pastors coming in here.
Yeah.
Now, he's saying my client cannot get a fair trial because there is not enough bubbas and 6-packs on the jury. That's the lawyer for the defense. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
My client cannot get a fair trial because there is not enough bubbas, or 6-packs,
Joe Sixpack,
on the jury.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. I've heard that too, and it's a mystery to me that someone could be that bold to say that, and it would have to be a distraction. And you do that when you don't have the evidence to back up your defense in terms of saying that your clients were innocent. So you create a distraction, and you try to use that as influencing exactly what you're saying about the pastor showing up. That's what you're trying to do, and influencing the jury to see it your way. But I think weren't these complaints raised outside the ear of the jury while they were not present?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but what one point I have real quick. If the prosecution and he was black had got up and said that but we don't have enough because there's not enough bubbas or 6-packs. Wait a minute, that's to me that sounds prejudice right there. Oh, you.
Well, the judge, he read through that. And he
did. He said, wait a minute. I saw Reverend Al Sharpton in the courtroom. And I don't believe really anybody else noticed him.
Yeah.
So, there was no distraction, distractions in the courtroom. That's my only concern. I don't care who, because Jesse Jackson was scheduled to come, this same week. So here he was saying, as long as I don't care who shows up, long as they don't disrupt my courtroom proceedings, I don't care. And that is just the defense trying to distract and say, look, we're not going to get a fair trial because we have these black pastors here. Wait a minute, not pastors, black pastors. That was the problem. You're talking about excluding black people. I'm sorry, calm down, kiddo. Calm down, kiddo. It's all right.
Yeah, that was interesting to me too when I heard those comments, and it was all over all the media. I mean, even Fox News had it on there, and I was in, whoa, wait a minute, Fox has got it on there too? Oh man, so that was something that I don't know how much impact it'll have in terms of the outcome because, well, tell me this, what do you think the outcome is going to be of this trial?
The evidence is showing, even the owner of the property said, I don't see anything that was missing. So to my knowledge, nothing was taken. And even one of the defendants even admitted that they didn't take any property, so that they didn't know anything was missing. They didn't see anything missing. So here you're trying to say that he was stealing, but you can't say what he stole.
And according to the video that was in the camera that was in the
construction site, right?
Several people came through there, and they weren't all black,
right?
And yet their only concern was this
the one black man that walked through. You didn't say anything about the other ones. So if he could have stole something, you mean they didn't steal anything?
In fact,
just because they were white?
In fact, I was listening to one of the lawyers were talking about the fact that the concern of the theft was about the foreman. The information was shared with the property owner that he believed the former of the construction crew was the guy that was stealing stealing from him. If anything was missing, it was done by the foreman of the construction crew. So it's I think it's a case of grasping at straws because you have really no case when it comes to why you chose to execute this guy. And I was listening to testimony today, and they were talking about how the gentleman was saying how he tried to get him to stop and asked him what was going on, and the guy didn't want to engage him. He just, he looked at him and he left. And he pulled up a little more in his truck, or he backed up in his truck and tried to do it again. The guy turned around and went the other way. He didn't want to be engaged with this guy because I guess he had a feeling that this wasn't going to be a good situation. So when another truck pulled up, the kid took off and started running, and they cut him off, and he got into a scuffle with the guy, trying to, way it looked on the video, the part that I saw, he grabbed the gun to try to push it away so that he wouldn't get shot. Mm-hmm. And the guy that was holding the gun, oh no, and he pulled the trigger and pulled it again. So, there was 3 shots fired, and that third shot was the one that just toppled him to the ground. Matter of fact, as he staggered away, he fell flat on his face and scraped his face all up. So, I don't know. I think it's timely because it speaks to what has been happening for a long time that nobody's been talking about. And had it not been for the cameras to really kind of justify or compliment what people have been saying about how there's a segment in our population that still believe that black people are less than human and they should do exactly what we tell them. Like the gentleman said, you stop. When I tell you to stop, you stop. Like slave patrols. Where's your papers and that kind of thing. But it really kind of irked me, and I had to turn away for a bit and turn to Leave It to Beaver for a little while to just kind of get away from the madness of how can these guys just make the determination that somebody jogging through the neighborhood can be stopped and questioned just for jogging.
It's still the mentality, I would say, of the South.
Not just South.
Well,
it's
no,
northern
no,
folks that same kind of.
But we're just saying in that because of that area. Mm-hmm. My niece was in the Navy. Well, she's retired now. But she was working. She had went to go visit a friend, and at this point, I'm not sure of where she was, but she was definitely
in the
down
South.
in the South.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. They're walking downtown. She's on the sidewalk. And her friend was walking with her.
Male friend or female?
Female friend. And coming towards them was a couple of white people. As they're coming, my niece's friend stepped off the sidewalk and told my niece, "Come here, you better come here." And my niece, being from California, that wasn't used to that, she's saying, "What's the problem? Come here. You don't understand. Come here." She got her. So she came off the sidewalk, and as the white couple walked past her, then they proceeded to get back on the curb. She said, "You don't understand. You don't do that down here," which is walk on the side. You get off the sidewalk when white people are walking towards you.
How long
you
ago
get off.
was this?
This was now probably 8-9 years ago now.
Oh wow, that's fairly recent.
Yeah, no, that's what shocked me was this is not 20, 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, this was because this was at the, I'd say the very most 10 years because she got she got her 20. So this was really still recent, and the girl was serious. She wasn't playing. She wasn't as a joke. She was serious. This is
based on her experience.
Her living there.
Yeah.
This is what you do, and I can find out with a phone call and tell you next time we're on the air exactly where they was at, city and all.
Okay.
But I mean, life hasn't changed really to a certain extent for black folks. I'm just going to say it like that. People don't understand some of the stuff that we go through. I could tell you stories that have happened to me being in the pest control industry for 40 years and starting here in Fresno, California, and being the first black American, if you want to say, the first black to be registered with the state here in the Central Valley from Modesto down to Bakersfield, and starting out in Clovis. I got stories for you.
Oh, wow.
First-hand knowledge. I'm not talking about stuff I heard and somebody told me. I'm talking about me dealing with white people out in Clovis, and even just in the city of Fresno, stuff that when you were pulled over while you driving while black and stuff. No, oh yeah, that stuff is real, and it's not made up, and that's just not me. I'm not the only one. So,
we're going to have some more discussion about this, because I guess we could share stories about things that have happened over the past 20 years that happened to all of us. But
no, you didn't do nothing, Mel.
Yeah.
There's no way you was ever pulled over for anything. That didn't happen.
we're going to have this conversation the next time we're on the air. But folks, we hope you've enjoyed our broadcast today and you've learned something. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. So until then, have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you after Thanksgiving.
Have dents or dings that need to be removed from your car? Well, look no further. Here at Say Magnifique, we offer paintless dent repair, interior repair, windshield repair, wheel repair, scratch, and automotive touch-ups. A new headlight restoration system guaranteed to never have your headlights dull again. Say Magnifique is a mobile business, and we'll come to you. Reasonable rates guaranteed. Don't hesitate to call 559-704-7525. That's 559-704-7525. Say Magnifique, your one-stop auto body shop.